Okay, guys, I'm a little under the weather today, so I'm not doing my typical video or live stream or whatever for Saturday. But I did pick up this graphing calculator this morning, and I want to share just a few quick tips with you guys about selling graphing calculators. Some things you may run into, and some things you may want to do when you're listing them. So this one is TI 84 Plus Silver Edition. I'm not going to go into which models you want to buy because that's too easy to look up yourself on eBay. But this is a pretty good one, $60 to $70 range for a used one. There's also TI 83s, 86s, HP 49G. There's just a lot of different models. But like I said, you can look those up. But what I want to talk about is some things you may run into, especially on the older ones. Like this one is not that way. But I've seen on, I believe, the 81s and the 83s before, you'll hit the power button with fresh batteries in and you won't get a display. You won't get, I need to enter. You won't see anything on the display, and a lot of times what that is there's nothing wrong other than the contrast is set wrong. So like, let me punch in some numbers here. Okay, and then you'll see if the contrast is not set high enough. Like, look, we'll dial the contrast all the way back. Then it looks like there's nothing on the screen, right? So a lot of times if you get a calculator like that, I don't know why they get like that, but after a while the contrast settings clear out or something on some calculators. So if you're turning it on and it's not doing anything, first thing you want to do, if you know you have good batteries, is hit power on and then hit second contrast up, second contrast up. And it may not be in exactly, you see second, you got to hit second each time. It may not be, and if it goes too dark, see that? It'll just be one big block. I've seen that before too on calculators. So then you can dial it back. Can't tell you how many times I've seen that. So that's one setting you want to be familiar with. It's a contrast setting. I've seen calculators that I thought were dead that ended up being the problem. It's just that contrast thing. And it'll always be like this little circle with half filled in, half not, just like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, another thing to keep in mind, whenever I list calculators, see how I have the numbers? A lot of people just punch in numbers and take their photos like that. I like to do something a little different, and this applies to most of the TI calculators, or all of them actually. If you hit Y equals, then you can pull up these functions, and I'll go ahead and let me clear these out. What I like to do is I like to graph a few functions instead of just having numbers, because that proves the entire display is good. So like, I have y1 equals, that's the first function. I'll do a sign, and then you hit X, and then you close the parentheses, and then I'll do, cursor down. And then for the next one, I might do an X, and then an X squared. Okay. And then for the next one, you can do, let's see, we can do like a 1 divided by X. Okay. Then after you get your functions plugged in there, just like that, you can hit graph, and it'll draw them out. And to me, if you take a picture of that, that just makes a better display for your customer, and it shows more of the screen working. You can do whatever functions you like. I like to do that. Another thing you want to do, turn it off, is of course anytime you're selling a calculator or really anything with a battery in it, take the batteries out and take close-up pictures of the battery compartment to show whether it has corrosion or not. If it has corrosion, clean it out, but be honest and tell them, had a little corrosion, cleaned it out, works fine, and then take pictures of it. And then whenever I do take the pictures of the battery compartment, I always make sure to leave the battery cover in the photo a little bit, just to make sure they know that it's not missing, right? And the only other thing I would mention is if you have the cover, mention it in the title, because a lot of these things don't have covers. So just a few little quick tips. Hope y'all found that useful, guys. Hope y'all having a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.